Kanka bunlar 5 milyonluk build de değil. Bunlar direkt item adamlar kendileri kodlayıp yazıyor öyle giyiyor. Hadi 3, 2, 1. Chris abim. Gel abi. Chris abim gelebilir mi lütfen? Bu build de çok güzel bu arada. Frostbring Ignite. Şöyle bir dondurup başlatalım. Bir kendine gelsin yayın. Ozi'nin sesini biraz azaltalım. Takip için teşekkürler bu arada. Bu takibi kapatayım mı? Sesini kısayım ya da.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding.
Başlıyoruz.
Thanks for joining us for today's live stream as we reveal our upcoming expansion, The Forbidden Sanctum, which launches on December 9th on PC and Mac and on December 14th on console. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below in order to claim your Bloodguard wings. Here's what you can expect from today's live stream. We'll start by debuting the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum, and we'll then do a deep dive on the league itself.
Expedition yazmıyor.
Expansion's new endgame revamps and content, and then we'll have a look at all the new skills we're
Expedition yazmıyor.
We'll then reveal some new unique items and the massive buffs and rarity adjustments we have made to a variety of endgame unique weapons. We'll then briefly cover some balance topics that we have posted articles about recently: jewels, curses, and the replacement of the arch nemesis monster mod system. Finally, we'll discuss the upcoming release of the optional Ruthless game mode before touching on some quality improvements and the new supporter packs. The livestream concludes with a Q&A session between Ziggy D and me, where we'll answer questions from Twitch chat. Then we'll drop the full patch notes. Let's get started with the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum, which launches in 1 week.
Quality of life değil mi? Göreceğiz bakalım. Grinding Gear Games. Let's go. Masif diyor bak.
Many have met their fate here in the shade of Fell Shrine.
Doğum günü pastası.
So step lightly. But here you are bound by new rules. My rules.
Ne oluyor?
Each step with gold to tempt you. A foe to wound you. A curse
Ultimatum
to
boss'u.
spite you.
Mor yazdı, what the fuck?
But do not give up. For vast riches await the bold. Pillage this sanctum if you must. And one day you may uncover
What the fuck?
its secrets.
Yeni skill. Okey. Starforge. Ya bunu geç arkadaşım, bunu geç. Staff herhalde. Ne diyorsun? Ebis miydi o? God damn. Lig mekaniği güzel duruyor bu arada. Lig mekaniği güzel duruyor. Şeyden hiç ümidim yok bu arada. Hani endgame weapon buff'ı diyor da Starforge'un hasarını 1 değil de 2 arttıracaklar. Yani genelde öyle yapıyorlar da bakalım. Yeni skill... Aynen abi, yeni skill'ler de güzel duruyordu. Yeni skill'ler de fena değildi.
The Forbidden Sanctum is an old Templar enclave, long rumored to be hidden beneath the Fell Shrine ruins. Abandoned for a long time, it is now controlled by a malevolent entity. In this league, you'll explore it, find out its secrets, and deal with the evil that lurks there.
Tabi.
The Sanctum Challenge League is a roguelike game, played out one room at a time as you explore Rayclast and the Atlas in Path of Exile. In every area or map you enter, you can make a choice of which room in the Sanctum you will explore next. On the Sanctum map, you can see the contents of a few rooms ahead, enabling you to
roguelike dedi, beni benden aldı.
halls.
Sesi biraz daha
And the
açayım
Sanctum
mı?
is dangerous. Like most roguelikes, you should not expect to be able to complete it on your first try. Getting to the deeper floors requires experience, knowledge, and luck.
Double
You
strike.
should expect that your early attempts will fail.
Öldü.
but over
Double
time,
strike'ın sonu
you'll be
bu
able to
arada.
push yourself farther and farther. As you progress deeper into the Sanctum, you'll find a variety of treasures that will help you eventually fight your way to the dangers that await you at the end of its 4 floors. Eventually, by endgame, you may be able to push through all 4 floors to face the final boss.
Okay.
Every roguelike needs a resource to help you track how well the run is going. In the Forbidden Sanctum, it is your resolve, indicated by this bar here. As you explore the Sanctum, your resolve is threatened by the dangers within. When you lose all of your resolve, your Sanctum run ends.
Ooh. Okay.
Your level of resolve is maintained between consecutive rooms on your run, but is only shown when you're in the Sanctum itself. The resolve mechanic applies equally to all build archetypes. Your resolve is reduced when you are hit by monsters or environmental hazards in the Sanctum, and these
Hit by
telegraphed
derken?
attacks are not affected by regular Path of Exile defensive mechanics, such as evasion, armor, or block.
Okay.
While these attacks do some nominal damage to your regular life, the bulk of their impact is against your resolve. This mechanic provides a mechanism for tracking your progress between rooms, where your regular life pool would long ago have been recovered. Another aspect of the resolve system is that characters who are struggling can be ejected from the Sanctum without actually having to die, avoiding experience loss or hardcore death. So maintaining a healthy level of resolve is key as you navigate the Sanctum, and that means making
Anlık
careful
çeviri.
choices of
Sonra.
what rooms you enter. Let's have a look at some of the things that Sanctum rooms can contain. Afflicted rooms cause you to gain an affliction when you enter them. Afflictions make your Sanctum run more difficult. For example,
Okay.
reducing your resolve recovery, causing rewards to
Bu
become
direkt
hidden
yeni
on the
mekanik, yani
Sanctum
yeni oyun gibi olmuş bu yani.
or causing Sanctum rooms to spawn volatile anomalies that follow you. These minor afflictions accumulate as you get
Ultimatum'daki
deeper and deeper
modlara
into the
benziyor
run,
biraz
making
bu
it
arada.
more challenging. Major afflictions exist and are a big
Ice
deal.
Crash.
They have
İşte bak,
significant
mail dedim böyle olur
consequences,
abi.
such as entirely preventing the recovery of resolve. So, a Sanctum run gets harder and harder as you pick up more afflictions. Sounds great. But every roguelike needs a way for you to gain power throughout your run. In the
Evet.
Forbidden Sanctum, that system is boons.
Boons
Boons are
mu?
beneficial buffs that help you as you progress through the Sanctum. Minor boons make things a little easier, such as slowing down monsters or adding a special shield to your resolve called Inspiration. Major boons don't come along often, but have large effects, such as preventing you from receiving more minor afflictions, or recovering your resolve to 50%.
Bunu
the
çözmesi
next time
bayağı
you
uzun
run out.
sürecek gibi.
Due to the vast variety of afflictions and boons, no 2 runs are the same. Generally speaking, your best Sanctum runs are the ones where the afflictions you choose have little effect on you, and the boons either counteract them or have a large benefit for the strategy you're running. Some rooms in the Sanctum
Loot'u
contain a fountain
göstersinler,
which
değil
will
mi?
restore some of your lost resolve. Others
Okay.
contain afflicted fountains that restore even more resolve at a cost.
Okay.
Rooms with a treasure reward contain chests full of the Templar Aureus currency, a type of gold coin they used for commerce within their Sanctum. You'll also find some
ne
Aureus
satın alacağız
coins from
bundan?
monsters that you kill as you explore. These are picked up automatically, like Azurite, and are
Wow.
not tradable. And like your
Otomatik
afflictions
alacak,
and boons,
inanmazsın.
are lost when your Sanctum run ends. Some rooms contain a merchant who accepts your Aureus
He,
coins in
satıcı da
exchange
var,
for
okey.
boons.
Roguelike'larda olur
Purchases
genelde.
carefully, as you may encounter the merchant again later on with even more expensive boons to purchase. Occasionally,
Hadi
the
sen
sinister
benzetmişsin.
powers controlling the Sanctum
Roguelike
present
çok
you
iyi
with
bu
the
arada
choice
ya.
of making an
Roguelike
accursed
oyunlarını
pact.
sevenler varsa.
You were given several pacts to choose from and can even opt to take all that you were offered. All pacts have a big upside and a big downside, such as exchanging a portion of your maximum resolve for a random major boon. It's
Major
very
boon.
dangerous to make a pact, but if you pick the right circumstances, your gamble could pay off. In addition to rewards that help you progress through the Sanctum, many rooms let you immediately receive Path of
Yerden
Exile currency
toplamayacağız mı?
items,
Harbi
but
öyle.
with a twist. Whenever you're offered some currency items that you can receive right away, you're
18
also
kaos
offered a
oldu.
more valuable option that will be waiting for you after the boss fight at the end of the current floor of the Sanctum.
Oo.
It's a gamble, because if you fail your run before you reach and defeat the boss, you will not receive the reward you picked. Later on, you're offered the extreme temptation of getting a massive currency reward that is conditional on completing your entire Sanctum run without failing.
Failemezseniz.
At a specific point in the Forbidden Sanctum storyline, you'll discover a special altar that Templar relics can be placed on. These relics directly affect your Sanctum runs and are not lost when a run ends.
Account bank diyor bu
The
arada.
League is a permanent source of meta progression. Acquiring new and better relics is one of the ways you can push farther and farther with each run you try. Relics cannot be crafted and cannot be traded, as they represent your personal progression throughout the League. You'll accumulate more than you can use simultaneously, so you'll have options to find a strategy for run to run. You can store your extra relics in the relic
Tetris de var, roguelike de var.
Like the expedition locker. We don't want to spoil
çok az gibi ama.
details, but the end boss of the Forbidden Sanctum can drop unique items from a pool exclusive to this league. Today we'd like to show you a unique amulet called Eternal Damnation. This amulet offers a powerful way to gain additional elemental mitigation by introducing the concept of elemental damage reduction. Despite the drawback of reducing your maximum resistances, if you have sufficient chaos resistance, this is more than compensated for.
Darkest Dungeon.
Because of the roguelike nature of the Forbidden Sanctum,
Glacial Cascade
defeating the boss of a floor is a difficult achievement and hence rewards a lot of experience. You may fail on the way, so if you do manage it, expect a good experience boost for your achievement.
Elemental damage reduction çok o kadar iyi bir şey değil bu arada.
Another reward you can find is a special type of relic called a Sanctified Relic that has mods that directly affect your character's build.
Raider'lar.
You can only unlock one slot for this type of relic, and while these relics can't be crafted through conventional means, you may find special reward rooms in the Sanctum that can modify them.
Damn. Craft'ta yapılmıyor bunlar.
Only and provide a boost to
Nasıl düşürürsen öyle.
players who are able to master the Sanctum. The Sanctum League offers a roguelike experience that tempts you into taking risks and rewards you if those pay off. There's a lot to explore in the Sanctum, and we can't wait to hear about your experiences next week.
Bu ne la böyle? Mekanik çok güzel
In each
duruyor
expansion leading up to Path of Exile 2's release, we're improving Path of Exile's endgame with new content to explore and improvements to how you customize your endgame experience.
Bakalım bu ne?
In the Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we're revamping the Atlas tree, reworking how Eldritch Altars function, and are introducing 2 new Atlas memories.
2 tane Atlas memory'si ekliyorlarmış
The
ya.
Atlas tree is generally working really well, but has a few problems we'd like to address.
Evet.
The tree offers you the ability to specialize in killing pinnacle bosses, providing extra rewards when you do so. While this sounds good on paper, it creates a situation where you're incentivized to specialize your tree for regular mapping, save up all of your boss fights, then respec fully into boss mode, and then do all of your saved up boss fights before speccing.
Evet, bunu da siz yaptınız bu arada.
Ideally, the design of the Atlas tree would let you spec into one build and then just play the game.
Hani bunu sen yaptın bu arada Chris.
all boss bonuses from the Atlas tree and have baked some of them into the actual base properties of the boss fights. For example, you don't need to allocate the Gaze into the Abyss notable that makes the Elder more likely to drop a Watcher's Eye, as he just has that drop chance built in now. The Atlas tree is now focused on allowing you to specialize into content that you encounter in every map. We also want you to be able to specialize into your
Expedition nerede? Expedition?
even more deeply on the Atlas tree. For each of the 10 leagues that the tree lets you disable, we've added a bunch more passives to the tree. These new passives allow you to increase the league's spawn chance to much higher levels than currently possible and juice the league even further than before.
Expedition duruyor gibi şu an.
We are making a number of changes to Eldritch Altars that mostly affect their rewards, but will also affect gameplay decisions you make involving them. Some of the key changes include splitting up the basic currency, Scarab, and Divination card rewards to be explicit in their description of what rewards you'll get.
Oha, böyle mi olacakmış?
Instead of map bosses dropping 3 unknown
Bunlar da mı böyle?
currency
Çok iyi
items,
bu arada.
the altar specifically says
Bak,
which
Cold Tat
currency
oynuyorsun.
items will drop.
Chaos Res, Fire Res önemli değil.
We've removed some of the lower value yet quite common currency rewards from the pool, such as Orbs of Augmentation and Orbs of Transmutation. Speaking of Scarabs, these will be less available from altars, but we've improved their availability elsewhere to offset this. Rusted Scarabs can now drop from the core drop pool, and we've added a vendor recipe that allows you to upgrade your Scarabs up to Gilded using the normal 3:1 ratio. You can also perform this action from your Fragment tab using the new upgrade button.
Okay.
We've made reward types exclusive
Reis
to
geldi, gözümüzün nuru
so
ya.
that you know which influence type to invest in if you want to target farm a certain reward. To give you a specific example, if you run maps influenced by, say, Eater of Worlds, you'll see Divine Orbs from the basic currency reward more than twice as often as before. We've also rebalanced rewards so that choices that affect boss drops or influence monster drops are comparatively more valuable. The Wrath of the Cosmos keystone has been reworked. Previously, it was so rewarding that players felt obligated to use it despite its extreme level of difficulty. It has retained the risk versus reward element, but with the overall intensity toned down. You can now also get awakened gems from defeating Maven Witness map bosses. This additional reward helps further balance the expected
Multi-strike
returns from
düşecek değil mi
various
şimdi?
types of influence. For more detail on these changes, check out the balance manifesto
vicious
we posted
projectile
last
işte.
week, or the upcoming patch notes. In the Lake of Calandra expansion, we introduced Atlas Memories.
Okay.
When
Expedition.
applied to your Atlas,
Expedition
they unlock
Memories.
a sequence of maps that tells the story of an NPC's past. These stories manifest as specialized encounters that involve a new challenge and exciting
Expedition
rewards.
Memorisi.
In this expansion, we've introduced 2 new Atlas memories, describing events related to beastry and domination.
Yok ama farklı bir şey bu.
The beastry memory line allows you to capture harvest monsters as beasts for your menagerie. These harvest beasts can be used in 9 new beast crafting recipes.
Yeni
These
9 tane
recipes
craft
cover an
mı?
array of options. For example, you can remove one of the special modifiers from a Watcher's Eye Jewel and then add another. This can have potent results, but won't affect the life, mana, or energy shield modifiers.
What the
You can
fuck?
re-roll an awakened gem from one type to another. Another example is that you can also re-roll a synthesis implicit modifier. If your item is more than one synthesis implicit, it will randomly re-roll one of them.
Okay Ayhan, okay.
The Domination Atlas memory thrusts you into a tale of pantheon gods that stand watch over their shrines. Like regular shrines, these are guarded by monsters and emit a buff that empowers the monsters until you
What
claim
the
that buff
fuck?
for yourself.
Bu ne la?
This Atlas memory introduces a new set of shrines with specialized buffs.
Ödül
guarded
ne
by
veriyor,
rare
ödül?
monsters that drop tantalizing rewards.
He. Okay, onları göreceğiz.
The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces a new type of shard that can drop from Harbingers, fracturing shards. When combined together into a full currency item, you get the Fracturing Orb, which behaves the same as the Fracturing Craft from Harvest. It can be used on any rare item with at least 4
What?
modifiers. When the orb is applied, it locks one of the modifiers in place so that further crafting efforts do not affect
What?
that modifier. Items fractured in this way can only have one fractured modifier.
Harbiden
Previously, this crafting option was gated behind the Oshabi
kanka
Frontier
anlayınca çok sevineceğim merak
Now
etme.
that it has been rehomed to Harbinger, the Harvest crafting option is no longer available. This means that you'll be able to use your Harvest Life Force and Oshabi kills on other crafts. Because fracturing shards drop from Harbingers, you'll be able to target farm them by speccing into
Bu çok
Harbinger
iyi bu
content on your
arada.
Atlas tree.
Hepsini anlatacağım gençler.
The Forbidden
İzleyelim.
Sanctum expansion introduces a number of new skill gems. In addition to some new
Şimdi
melee
anlayanlar
battle
anlasın,
skills we'll discuss
anlamayanlara
later in the
anlatacağım.
livestream, there are 2 totally new skills that we'd like to unveil today. Volcanic Fissure is a new
Aynen.
fiery slam skill that can be used with staves, maces, axes, and unarmed attacks.
Ya
Strike the ground to create a chasm that winds towards your target. This chasm can path around corners before erupting as the fissure gets as close as it can reach. It releases a burst of
Molten
fiery
Strike'ın bir
projectiles that
değişiği.
explode on striking the ground. Enemies hit by multiple impacts will take a lot of stacked damage. Use it up
Okay.
close for reliable bursts of damage or aim far away to damage a larger area.
okay. O toplar üst üste
Legion is
stekleniyorsa
an
iyi bu arada.
unusual spell, summoning a ring of icy statues that attack with your own weapon damage. This skill has multiple cooldown stacks and consumes all cooldown uses at once to summon a statue for each available cooldown. The statues perform a sweeping ice slash, and these sweeps can overlap, resulting
Ne
in
bu,
multiple
totemin bir
hits
değişiği
against targets close to you. This spell can be used with staves,
Canları
maces,
yok
and
ama.
axes. The skill is particularly powerful with slow, heavy weapons, as while the statues
Aynen.
will use your attack speed, you should instead prioritize the spell's own cast time and cooldown. This expansion also introduces many new Val melee skills. As you know, equipping a Val skill gem grants you both the Val and regular version of the skill. As you
Kazamız
kill
var
enemies,
bu.
the
Hadi
gem
bakalım.
charges up with their souls, and after a certain number are collected,
Neler var
the
acaba?
Val skill can be used once. Most of the new Val skills introduced in this expansion are melee skills, and this results in an indirect buff to any melee builds that use one of
Bak
these
orada
skills.
Soul Eater görüyorum.
Where
Bak oyunda
previously
yoktur
you'd just
inşallah
be
bu.
using your melee skill to kill
Bak
enemies,
Soul Eater
you
yoktur
now get to
inşallah.
periodically use a superpowered version of the skill. If you
Swipe
like Flicker
herhalde.
Strike, you'll love Val Flicker Strike.
Val
as it
Flicker
really
Strike
dials
mı?
up the concept of letting fate take the wheel.
Nerede o Flicker
Val
Strike'lar?
Flicker Strike causes you to flicker dozens of extra times, slashing
Ananı
enemies.
sikeyim.
During this
İzlerken
time, you don't deal any damage to the enemies you slash. You're quite vulnerable due to not leeching or generating fortify stacks. When you finish flickering, if you survived, of course, you'll be rewarded with a single huge hit of damage against each enemy you slashed.
herkes
Val
aynı anda
Cleave is a
vuruyor.
new Val skill that buffs the behavior of its non-Val version, in a similar way to how Val Reeve works. Val Cleave triggers 2 buffs, one when you kill a rare enemy, and one when you kill
Yani
either
Cleave
a
yani
rare or
oynayan
unique
varsa.
enemy. The latter is a strong buff to regular Cleave.
Geçenlik
which
buff
means you
yemişti.
have
2
almost
tane
permanently
alanı
if you
artmıştı.
kill rare or
Artı
unique
2.
enemies often enough. The bonus for killing a rare enemy is that you get to steal its mods for a time. You can enjoy part of the power of having a headhunter without actually needing to find one. Overall, Val
Okay.
Cleave is a pretty powerful upgrade to any melee build that could run Cleave. That +2 radius buff is looking pretty good
Okay,
now, right?
okay.
Don't hurt me. We'll showcase the other new Val skills we're introducing over the coming week. The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces over 15 new unique items.
15 mi?
Exclusive uniques to ones that can be found
Gerçi
from
curse'ler falan da var değil mi?
bosses. I'd like to show you 3 examples of these, designed by winners of our prior league's boss kill races.
Aa, bu Ben'in yaptığını göreceğiz şimdi.
Genesis is a unique amethyst flask that was designed by Ben and
Light
dropped from
yapmış
the
bunu.
Uber Maven. It's a defensive flask that grants a mini version of the Petrified Blood effect, but without requiring you to be on low life. This is a useful tool to prevent you getting one-shot by large amounts of incoming damage in scary situations.
Ben yaptıysa bir bildiği vardır bunu.
Rational Doctrine is a unique jewel that was designed by Rawlings and drops from Uber Venarius.
Kim?
By manipulating your attributes, you can change how this jewel behaves. While the ideal dream outcome is that you manage to get your strength and intelligence tied for highest, enabling both of the benefits simultaneously, the jewel is still very powerful if it only grants your choice of permanent consecrated ground or permanent profane ground. Entropic Devastation is
Yani
a pair of
İngilizler olmaya çalışırken ben
Gucci Pradas and drop from the Uber Shaper.
Gucci.
Currently, the ways to get Spell Impale are very limited.
Aynen.
These gloves provide the powerful property of causing all of your spells to impale on crit.
%50 increase effect of impale
So
by
let's talk about
spells.
unique weapons.
Damn.
Specifically,
Ben de bilmiyorum
endgame
Gökhan.
unique weapons.
Görelim
In many
bakalım.
ways, the weapon is the most iconic and important item on a character, so it's very important that we make them exciting and
Göz
worthy of
kırptı.
their unique
Gördünüz mü?
status.
Göz kırptı.
While
Banaydı o.
some unique weapons have special properties that enable entirely new builds,
Banaydı o.
others are best compared to powerful rare items as a primary source of your character's
Impale
damage.
nasıl geri sok?
We have to be very careful when pitching the power level of these unique weapons. If they're not powerful enough, then they're
Parlatıcı
useless
krem
and are ignored.
sürmemiş.
But if they're too powerful,
Evet
then
ya,
they
biraz
discourage
az.
entire archetypes of characters from trying to find or craft rare weapons.
Beyaz gömlek giymiş.
Interestingly, the
Şey
above
yapmak
problem
için.
doesn't apply to belts.
Dengelemek
Despite
için.
Mage Blood and Headhunter both existing as extremely powerful unique items,
Bir dakika,
people
Mage Blood
still
dedi.
craft plenty of rare belts. That's because Mage Blood and Headhunter are extremely rare, and people don't actually expect they'll reliably get one in a league.
Evet.
Players tend to treat them as luxury upgrades to their build, rather than something they're certain to get. In this expansion, we're promoting 10 iconic but underused unique weapons to the same tier of rarity as Mage Blood and Headhunter. We are buffing them a gigantic amount and are making them incredibly hard to find.
Gigantic amount nerede kanka
Remember when
burada?
Starforge used to be an exciting item? Well, after this change, it certainly is again. It still drops exclusively from the Shaper and the Uber Shaper.
Okay,
but it'll
damage'i
take a
bayağı
lot
bir
of runs
artmış.
or a lot of luck to earn it. Over the next week, we'll reveal the other unique weapons that have been massively buffed.
Silahta da can olmasın
We've
neyse.
targeted around 10 iconic underused unique weapons and have generally buffed only their damage stat, but by a lot.
Yani bilmem.
We've made a number of changes to jewels that are covered in a recent balance manifesto.
Çok
But
bir
in
fark
case you
göremedim
missed
ben
it,
ama
we'll
vardır bir
quickly
şeyler.
summarize what the changes are. In the Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we have made jewels a better source of
%47
ailment
chance to
mitigation
avoid
by buffing the
bleeding.
values of ailment-focused jewel modifiers and adding new modifiers that enable mitigation to a wider variety of ailments than before. We have also removed some ailment mitigation modifiers that were only available on jewels through corruption,
Reduce
because there
ignite
are now
duration
better
oynuyor.
options through the regular jewel mod pool. This
Okay.
also means that other desirable corruption modifiers
Bunları
like
biliyoruz zaten.
immunity to
Bunları
corruption
söylemişlerdi.
blood are more likely to roll. We want the moment of finding a unique jewel to be way more exciting than it currently is. We've added a handful of new,
What?
very powerful unique
Ne?
jewels and have removed some old, less interesting ones. An example of one of these new unique jewels is Fire Song, which propagates any modifiers to your ignite mitigation to other elemental ailments. If you're able
Bu
to
güzel bu
substantially
arada.
reduce the duration of ignites on you, then you can use Fire Song to
Çünkü
basically
Pantheon'la
shut off
yapabiliyorsun
any
zaten.
elemental
Pantheon
ailment.
%60 veriyor.
For full information about the other changes to
Bir tane de
unique
acaba.
jewels, check
Ha,
out
biz
the
o kultist
balance
olduğumuz için
manifesto
sıkıntı yok.
post
Biz
we made
freeze çileyemiyoruz zaten.
We've rebalanced curses to make them stronger where they matter most against unique monsters and pinnacle bosses. We have buffed several hex-related unique items and reworked unique items that
Bu kaskı
previously
kullanan var
interacted
mıydı
with
hiç?
Doom. To replace the Doomsday Keystone passive, we have brought back a version of an
O kaskın
iconic
oyunda olduğu ben var
curse-related
mıydı?
keystone from the past. We've introduced some powerful
Evet.
new unique items
Bu
that
güzel
interact
bayağı,
with
bunu
hexes,
gördük.
which we'll reveal in the lead up to launch. For more details on changes to curses, check out the balance manifesto we posted recently, or
Scorching
patch
Ray
notes
ne
that
bu?
will come out
Scorching
after the live stream concludes. When we first created the Arch Nemesis monster mod system, our goal was to improve Path of Exile's outdated set of monster mods with new and interesting mechanics that
Evet.
add modern game balance.
Bu dediklerini de
We
kendileri
feel that
yaptı bu
Arch
arada.
Nemesis did introduce a lot of interesting mechanics, but it unfortunately had several of its own problems.
Kendileri yaptığı
We have
şeylerden
replaced
bahsediyor
Arch
şu an.
Nemesis with a system that is more similar to the way monster mods worked in the
Art
past.
Nemesis'in kötü olduğunu anlatıyor ve
New
kendi
monster mods are
yaptığı
a lot simpler.
Art Nemesis'in.
They now each do one thing and very clearly state what they do.
Endurance charge ve net. Crit resistance. Enerji shield aura. Bak o kötü bir şey işte. Enerji shield aura diye bir şey yok Chris. Unut onu ya. Unut onu. Bu da var.
The goal is that combat is interesting and varied, with moments that get your heart racing, but without the frustrations of the arch
Bittik
nemesis.
var. Bu hala duruyor oyunda. Bunu
Let's talk
göstermeseydim
about
bari.
rewards. Under Arch Nemesis, it often felt mandatory to bring in a magic find culling character to kill some monsters for you in order to maximize your rewards. In the new system,
Ölmüyor
we've
yaratıklar.
added
Tornado
a
chat oynuyor.
significant
Nasıl
pool of
ölsün?
new rewards to rares, but the reward that is on the monster is hidden and not associated
Cold
with the
Snap
specific
oynasaydın
mod.
tek
So
yemişti
you
o.
don't know what
Cold
kind
Dot
of rewards
oynasaydın.
you will get until you kill the monster. Rare monsters with more mods are more likely to have these special hidden reward bonuses. To find out more about other balance changes that are taking place in the Forbidden Sanctum, check out the patch notes which will be available when the live stream ends.
Okay Chris.
Over
Bakacağız.
the last year or so, some of our
Ruthless.
senior developers have been tinkering with a more challenging way to play
Ruthless.
Path of Exile. We've been publicly
Aynen
alpha
kanka.
testing this mode, known as Ruthless, for the last month, and are planning to make it available to anyone who's interested alongside the launch of the Forbidden Sanctum next week.
Evet Chris'cim.
Ruthless is an optional additional character flag, like Hardcore or Solo Self-Found, that completely changes how Path of Exile feels to play.
Tabii ki, tabii ki.
Ruthless is a lot more difficult than regular Path of Exile,
Tabii canım,
but
çok
it
zor.
doesn't achieve this by making the monsters harder to kill. It instead focuses on reducing character power through extreme item scarcity.
Ruthless'un zorlukla alakası yok bu arada.
And many other changes, such as support gems being drop only. We've posted an article about the philosophy and rules of Ruthless on pathofexile.com/ruthless.
İki tane blue item atıyor. Black Star'dan.
Star'dan.
Normal oyunda aynısı, sadece daha az loot düşüyor ve flash atamıyorsunuz. Bu kadar yani. Bu zorlukla alakası nerede bilemedim ama.
To be clear, the Forbidden Sanctum League content can be played in Ruthless with appropriately balanced rewards.
Tabi.
Ruthless is still very experimental during 3.20, and we won't be afraid to
Savaşın 55. dakikası bu arada. Şu gösterdikleri yer. Marvel Savaşı'nın 55. dakikası. Hadi gezeceksin. Dünya rekoru mu? Yeah, 55 dakika Grand Slam Marvel.
This expansion also contains a number of small quality of life improvements. Some examples are divine vessels can now be used by right-clicking them rather than taking them to sit.
Yok artık. Teknolojiye bak.
The energy shield bar is split into a separate bar. You can now right-click an itemized Temple of Atsuatl to see its layout.
Teknolojiye bak.
Beast crafting recipes that add mods to flasks now actually say what the mods do. We'll post more information about these and other quality of life improvements.
Nasıl lan?
Today we're launching
Neyse, oyuna 20 sene önce eklenmesi gereken şeyler sonunda eklenmiş.
Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points plus several exclusive.
Geriye kalan 900 şeyi de eklerlerse güzel.
Only be available for the duration of the Sanctum Challenge League and will leave the store forever in 3 months.
Kalandra diye bir şey yok artık oyunda. Kalandra diye bir şey artık oyunda olmayacak. Şimdi en eğlenceli kısım. Skinlere geldik. Ne yapıyor? Okay, okay. Patla bakayım. Patla lan. Bu mu? Yani. Delirium at home. Anne delirium alabilir miyiz? Evde delirium var. Evdeki delirium bu. Singed.
The Forge Guard armor set summons a hammer and anvil so that everyone nearby can watch you craft.
Oha, bu iyiymiş bak ha. Bilet spamlar ha bunu.
Fusing effect turns your item linking attempts into a spectator sport. If you manage to hit a 6 link, people watching are even prompted to send a
Oğlum bu çok iyi la, what the fuck. Bu çok iyi. Aynen. Bu çok iyi değil mi? Beyler toplanın, altınink yapacağız.
The portal becomes dormant if you are too far away from it, causing the crows to take to the skies.
Bu da güzelmiş.
The High Templar weapon effect smites the undead you fight and scours the souls of those you put to rest.
Gözükmüyor, bir şey gözükmüyor. Efekte bak.
Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions.
O soldaki kim lan? Tuzen'in akrabası.
The Beehive weapon effect lets your weapon play host to a swarm of angry bees, which erupt from the hive whenever you hit.
Bu arada Last Epoch'tan çalma.
Critical hits cause the hive to send out its best.
Last Epoch'tan çalmalı.
The Stampede Quicksilver Flask
makes you
the leader of your own personal.
Perandus öyle bir şey miydi la? Tam hatırlamıyorum.
Activating the flask causes a host of ghostly rows
Bu ne lan? 3 FPS düştü şu an.
This is the Gemling Artificer armor set. It is inlaid with gems
Bura nere
that match
lan?
the gems you've socketed in your items. Crafting gems with gem cutters prisms, Val orbs, or regrading lenses visualizes the process for all to see. This armor set also includes alternate gem level up effects.
Damn.
Prospero's ring blesses you with a constant shower of coins, and it helps you thank players you've traded with through a hearty fist bump.
Oh shit.
The
Sikem yedikten sonra ben bu arada.
bounces alongside you and devours corpses in
Sikem
your
yedikten sonra
ending up
fist
in a
pump
tiny
yapıyorsunuz
pile of
böyle.
bones. Finally, this pack allows you to reunite with Kadero Perandus, inviting him to your hideout as a vendor. In addition to buying items from you and using his connections to accept your divination cards, he'll provide commentary on your goods, equipment, and anything else he sees
Lilli
fit
yerine
to
bu
judge you
kullanılabilir.
That might be a little too much to drink, even for me.
Cemleri
for.
vermiyor
Kadero
ama.
has hundreds of lines of voice acting.
What? Oh, a mighty.
Karaktere bak, Headhunter'ı takmış direkt.
I'm so impressed. Try to duck when the brain fragments splatter everywhere.
Diğer developerlara vs tarihin en büyük şirketi. +1.
These new packs are available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase.
Şu craft ve link olayı güzelmiş.
Directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2, and we really appreciate your support. Meanwhile, the
Perandus
Knight
geri
and
mi
Rogue
geldi?
packs leave the
Kendisi
store
geldi ama
for
mekaniği
one
hala
week,
yok.
So now's your last chance to purchase them.
Bunlar
The
da
Calandra edition of Kirik's Vault Pass is only available until the end of the Calandra League, and will be replaced with a new set of unique items when the Forbidden Sanctum launches.
yani Vault Pass
By
30
the
dolar.
way, we're hoping to film Season 11 of Build of the Week once the Forbidden Sanctum comes out. If you want to submit your build for the season, share your build guide on the class forums on pathofexile.com.
Daha bir şey
Next
vereyim
up,
mi
we've got
kanka?
the Q&A with Ziggy D. Once that ends,
Colt
we'll post
Autocultist
the full
build'i yaptım.
patterns
Hiç
for the
kimsenin
Forbidden
görmediği bir
Sanctum.
build.
Over the next week, our community team will post the expansion's challenge rewards, information on how to update your item filters,
Bundan
all new
sonrasını
and changed
tahmin
gems,
edebiliriz.
and
Güzel duruyor. Şu
information
ana
on how
kadar
to
izlediğimiz
prepare
her
for
şey
launch.
güzel yani.
On launch weekend, we expect to release the new mystery box and we'll follow
Mekanik
up with the
güzel
new Kirik's
duruyor.
Vault Pass in the
Endgame
days
editleri
after
şey
launch.
güzel duruyor.
Thanks for joining us and checking out the Forbidden
Ama o
Sanctum.
Lightning Mirage'ları
We can't wait
görmek
to
biraz
join you
kötü
in
oldu.
Raycast on December 9th. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get